101.7 WMBX, the John and Gordy Early Morning Family Show, broadcasting from State Street, a block away from the Capitol Dome. The legislators, of course, are on vacation this year. They're a full-time legislature? I think so. All right. This is John Peterson. Gordy, of course, is going in for surgery. Now, if you're watching on X, you can see us all three here on the screen. We have Matt Rothschild in as a guest host this beautiful morning that we have here. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, John. Yeah, it was beautiful when I got out of the house this morning. The half moon was up. The stars were twinkling.
Wow, that's great. I guess I missed that whole thing. I should look around every once in a while when I go stepping out of the door this morning. But we have Gordy. He's going to be here on the program just a brief time, to get us a little bit up to date on what's happening with you and your surgery this morning.
That's right, John. Good morning, and good morning to Matt and everybody there. And I'll give you the brief rundown here in a moment. But first, there's nothing more important than the weather, and you kind of alluded to it this morning, John. Clear skies, and it's going to be nice and sunny, but some clouds moving in later. It's currently 57 degrees in Madison, okay? And I don't know. Do you want to hit the weather roulette wheel and see what we've got for a high temperature, possibly?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sam?
Yeah, let's do that.
Gordy, you are such a weatherman.
I know.
I can't get it out of my system. I haven't done it for more than 10 or 12 years. But let's see. Our high temperature today, I believe I see from my remote camera, it's 78 degrees.
Wow.
So
Red 78. Red 78.
It's 78. So here, I'll just give you the brief rundown on my procedure. Some of you know that I've had some ear problems, my left ear, for almost a year, and with tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to pronounce it, which is a loud ringing in the ear. But I also had some pain at times, and it kept getting worse. Went in for several looks at it with CT scans and MRIs, and really didn't see much a year ago, but then, they do another checkup a few months in, and then they said, well, maybe we got something here. And so what I have is cholesteatoma, which is basically skin growth. It's not cancerous, but it does continue to grow behind the eardrum, and it heads toward the brain, and you want to get it before it gets to the brain, because then you can really have some problems. So that's what they're doing today. They'll go in and get that stuff out, and then hopefully repair the eardrum. And in lots of cases, they have to do it in 2 surgeries. So to replace the little tiny bones that create the hearing. So we'll see. They don't really know until they get in there if they have to do that, because this skin growth could be wrapped around those bones, and they might have to take the bones out, clear them off, and then try to put them back in again somewhere down the line. So I'm probably going to be without the hearing in my left ear for maybe a couple of months, and that's why I have this. I want to get used to this one-piece headphone that Civic Media was kind enough to loan me.
That was great that they did that for you.
Yeah, and they got a new setup for me here at home, so I can still be a part of the show.
Well, I'm just hoping that, for some reason it doesn't affect your balance, because I think that's the biggest issue.
Well, I'm unbalanced anyway, so what's the difference,
true.
right?
That's true.
But there's some after effects, dizziness and vertigo and nausea and headaches and all that.
That's fun.
I can't. We'll see about all that stuff too.
And you'll have a robotic ear after this, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be a robotic ear. Yeah, I can turn it up, turn it down. Hear different frequencies than regular people. So I'm looking forward to it. So I just want to say that if people are watching on X this morning, and a lot of people do, they're looking at your new studio there. You've just gotten some new equipment. You've updated from some kind of shoebox that you had your computer in last time. Right. Right. Yeah, and they furnished me with 2 screens. It's been a long time.
2 monitors.
2 monitors, and I have no idea how to dial down. They're as bright as can possibly be right now, and it's really kind of freaking me out. But I didn't have time to adjust them, and Sam was nice enough to set everything up here. But Yeah, I might have to have him come. I couldn't find the display settings here. So
Well, they're usually on the bottom of the screen someplace,
Well,
right
I
in the
know.
corner.
Yeah,
near
except none of the
corner.
buttons are labeled.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. None of the buttons are labeled.
just
so
push
you
'em.
just well, I don't want to do that
buttons.
because
What
if I
if,
push
what if he
them,
makes it even brighter? What if Gordy has a sun in
No,
his new studio?
He'll never be able to. You maybe.
it's way too bright. Way too bright.
Yeah.
Everybody have a
Yeah.
good weekend. I'm curious how your weekend was, John and Matt and Sam.
My weekend was, I had to play with the Kraken all weekend. We have a ball for my border collie, 1-year-old border collie.
Nice.
And it really knows how to roll down hills and down the driveway into the street. It really has a penchant for that. We kind of wore out the other ball, so it's crazy. So that's the time. Look, I'm worn out from just trying to play with my dog in the yard.
I
So
get
that's,
it.
That's what happened to me, and I know I would. We're going to have to take down your little gazebo as well. So if you ever
Well-
need help on that, just let me know.
We'll see about that. I don't really want to take it down until I have to. So,
Yeah.
but I may need help with that if it's in the next few days or next couple of weeks. But I went to see yesterday. I went to this event where Bradley Whitford and Martin Sheen
Yes.
were there. All these West Wing people, Richard Schiff, and a few others, and it was great. It was a kind of a rally for the people that are going out on the streets and canvassing for the Democratic Party. And it was really excellent. You may have seen some news clips, and I think it's a possibility Bradley Whitford may call into the show here a little bit later on this morning. I'm only going to be here for a few more minutes, but I got to tell you, he was really, really funny and really good. And I think he grew up around a political atmosphere, especially his father was somewhat political. But and he went to Madison East High School. I didn't realize that. Great actor and really funny guy, and I hope he calls in a little bit later on this morning. So,
All right.
so you got that
Yeah.
to look forward to. Do we have time
We'll
to
see if
get
he
to the
calls.
National Day calendar, or are you just going to skip that today?
No, we're definitely going to get to it. I was hoping that you would do it
Okay, I have the information here.
because
So-
I throw little pot shots in, and that's my role.
Well, you got to get Matt Rothschild used to how this all works. So let's get back to the National Day calendar and
Well,
fire
I'm
up the
enjoying
music
watching
there. Okay.
All
right.
Here we go.
Is it or is it not National Apple Day?
Yeah.
Is it Back to the Future Day? Is it National Witch Hazel Day? Is it National Pickleball Day? National Reptile Awareness Day, or National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day? Which day is it not, John Peterson?
It is not pickleball day.
You are correct. It is not National Pickleball Day. Why would they have a pickleball day? Who cares?
Well, they will soon.
Yeah, if they haven't
It's
already.
not there. It's not there yet. Boy,
All right.
National Witch Hazel Day.
I know. Should we start with that one? Let me
Matt,
go back to that.
you remember what they do with witch hazel? I
have
can't
no
remember
idea.
either. I thought it was some kind of medicine back in the old days.
Well,
Is that hazelnut we're talking about?
Well, it's witch hazel. It was actually one of America's first skin treatments and favorite skincare ingredients. Okay, since the late 1800s, distilled witch hazel extracts have been formulated into many of the world's most recognized cosmetic and over-the-counter pharmaceutical products. This effective, versatile plant extract naturally provides skin care, hair care, eye care, and topical OTC drug products. Don't know what that means. OTC, over the counter.
Over the counter, yeah.
Thanks. I believe it's a plant. I think it's a plant. Oil control, astringency claims, powering hundreds of essential personal care products. So that's witch hazel.
Witch hazel
we
is a
salute it.
flower.
He's got it right here. He's looking right at it.
Witch
Gordy.
hazel is a flowering shrub or small tree native to eastern North America. Its leaf and bark are used as medicine. There you are. Thank you, Google.
Yeah.
Wow.
And don't they have a flavor, either a gum flavor or a lifesaver flavor that is wintergreen or something like that? It smells like witch hazel.
I don't see anything
I
on
could
that,
be
John.
wrong.
I think you're making that up. Sorry.
Well, okay. Just like pickleball, I just threw that in just to see if I could confuse people.
Okay, well, I'm already confused, but let's go to National Apple Day. We all know about apples. I don't think this will take too long. National Apple Day, day to celebrate all things Apple. So, have some apple pie today. Okay, yeah, that's next.
No, I'm not going to tell my story about,
What?
Johnny Appleseed. I already told that story once before.
Give us the highlights.
Well, Johnny Appleseed, I saw him live in person in Door County. Remember, they had a barn with bales of hay in it, and they put a mannequin head, a white styrofoam mannequin head
this story.
inside the bales of hay, and they had a projector with his face on it, talking and telling his story of Johnny Appleseed, his own story.
So you feel like you really got to know Johnny Appleseed?
I did. I stood there for 2 showings of that. What do they think of up there?
I don't know.
Door County.
Yes. Well, let's move on. National Reptile Awareness Day. I think we're all aware of reptiles. Let's get to National Pumpkin.
Aware. Yeah.
What?
We should definitely be aware of reptiles.
National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day. I love pumpkin pie and I love cheesecake. So when you combine the two, look out. What it says here, this sweet dessert mixes fresh soft cheese, cream cheese, or cottage cheese, eggs, and sugar to create a base. The crust is made from crushed graham crackers, crushed cookies, pastry, and sponge cake. Pumpkin may be added to the cheesecake recipes in various ways. I love both pumpkin pie and cheesecake. How about you guys? You good with it?
Oh, I'm a pumpkin pie guy. I don't really like cheesecake. For me, cheesecake is a 2 or 3 biter. Then I'm sick of it.
Absolutely. I'm on Matt's side. I don't like cheesecake at all. Yeah.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah. I just hate
fascinating.
it. Yeah.
Okay. What do we got for history? Oh.
No, you missed a day here. National Clean Your Virtual Desktop Day.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
How could you have missed that? Where we have those little icons on our desktop screen. It just gets so cluttered after a while that today's the day to get rid of the ones you don't use anymore.
Well, listen, I can stick around a few more minutes, but I think we're up against some timelines here.
Yeah, why don't you come back after this break, Gordy, okay?
All right. Right here
this
on
92.7.
92.7.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, man.
You do it. No, you do it.
No, you.
You do. No, you.
I'm throwing it to you.
Listen, I'm going to the hospital. Come on. That little delay.
Yeah,
Is there that much of a delay?
No, it's not
heavy too.
What's that?
It's not that much of a delay, but it's just enough.
Okay, that's natural. Yeah, that's a great day. How about Back to the Future Day, man? Well,
all right, we'll do that. We can do that one.
The theme pulled up.
Okay, let's pulled up for that.
Just the Back to the Future theme, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any reptile stuff? Is that mine?
You don't gotta wait. You don't gotta waste all of the time.
I wish I knew how to dial these screens down.
National Reptile Awareness Day.
How can one be unaware of reptiles?
Yeah. and for anybody who's not aware of them, is probably dead at this point.
Yeah.
I want to tell you this book here.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Read the first 20 pages and then tell me if you can put it down.
All right.
What's the book?
It's Mike McCabe's book.
Oh, McCabe's.
Mike McCabe's Miracles Along County Q.
Oh, cool.
It just came out, and
yeah, I saw it on Facebook, and I know he's been on your show a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Anxious to get a copy of it.
Yeah. It's dedicated to his brother, and you kind of after him talking about the book a couple of times, you sort of kind of get the idea of what he's talking about. It's really you'll enjoy it if you have some time.
20 seconds.
Yeah, come up with something for Back to the Future. Music, is that it?
Yeah, I got music. I don't know what else there is to say about it.
WMDX, the John and Gordy Show. Matt Rothschild is our guest this morning, and Gordy has joined us briefly before he goes under the knife. Actually, the robotics that we have now for surgeries such as yours, it should go pretty well. Outpatient stuff. You should be home later on this afternoon.
Yeah, are you going to walk to the hospital? You live only like 2 blocks away.
No, I'm not going to that hospital. I'm going to a different one downtown. But
Yeah.
I should be back, sometime this afternoon, hopefully. Yeah.
All right.
And I don't know how much robotics is involved in this, but it is
Yeah.
middle ear surgery, and they go in, quite a ways.
I think
So,
you definitely want the robotics.
do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's computerized. It's very, very detailed. I mean, the thing here is it's taken the place of shaky hands, and doctors have shaky hands. You know that, Gordy. So
John,
You're making him nervous now.
Yeah, thank you for.
You guys are really beating a dead horse about this surgery, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't want to think about it all that much anymore.
When you're a senior citizen, all you do is talk about medical problems anyway. So yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mr. Gen Z in there.
You got robotic surgery, AI. It's almost like being in the future or going back to the future. Wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Okay.
just like Back to the Future.
It's
It
one of
is
our
Back to-
National Day calendar items
Back to
today.
the Future Day today. Yes,
Yeah,
October
see
1st
how
on
we-
the National. Isn't that incredible?
We weaved that all together.
Yes.
Today is Traveling Back to the Future Day. It's time to catch a ride on the DeLorean to celebrate Back to the Future Day, according to this, in 1989. Boy, I can't believe it was that long ago that
Yeah.
it came out. Fans of the movie trilogy Back to the Future watched the first signs of time travel through the windshield of the famous DeLorean in Back to the Future. For nearly 26 years, the franchise would wait until 2015 to actually celebrate the day, the only time that Doc, who was played by Christopher Lloyd, great actor, great director, and Marty, Michael J. Fox, and, of course, Elizabeth Shue was in that movie. It was a great movie. I don't know if it's Back to the first one or the second one. There's a scene where Marty McFly plays Johnny Be Good at the high school dance. I think it's in the
first
original.
one, yeah.
It's the original. And I thought that was just a great, great scene. And I think Michael J. Fox really did it well. I mean, it looked like he really knew how to play the guitar. I mean, it was excellent. So that's one of the highlights for me. It was great. Great movie.
And Marty McFly. Right. Well, how about who is the antagonist in that movie?
Biff?
Biff.
I forget
Yes.
who plays him, but yeah.
We have a cut of Biff
Oh,
riffing
really?
on stage. Yeah, he does stand up every once in a while, and he went into this angry rant about being confronted as Biff all the time, everywhere he goes.
Really?
They nail him for being Biff. And we have it someplace. I'm not quite
Oh, you
sure
don't-
how I labeled it. So yeah.
Oh, you don't have it handy?
No, I just thought of it as you were mentioning the cast.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. He's Sam's checking it out. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we should, do you have it? You come
I
up with
think I have it.
it? All right, let's play it.
I don't know what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Give it
let's
a
go.
shot.
When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of friendly people that I like to meet. They shake my hand but never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey, what's Michael J. Fox like? He's nice. What's Christopher Lloyd like? Kinda quiet. What's Crispin Glover like? Unusual. Stop asking me the question. I went to the bar mitzvah of my nephew Josh. Now I'm not Jewish, but I like to nosh. Put on my yarmulke, started to pray. When the rabbi leaned over and I heard him say, hey, was that real manure? No, it wasn't. How was that DeLorean? A piece of garbage. Do those hoverboards really fly? It's a movie. Stop asking me the question.
It's good.
They're
It's
great
good.
stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for finding that, Sam.
I forgot Crispin Glover in that movie. You ever see him on Letterman? There's a clip of him on the Letterman
yeah.
show, and he was not invited back after that
Yes,
appearance.
never came
Remember?
back after that. What a crazy lunatic.
He went off.
How did he
on-
misbehave?
Well, he went off on Letterman. He started kicking, doing like
he
standing
was
up in
doing
his
karate
chair
kicks.
and doing karate kicks aimed at Letterman's face, and
and
that was-
punches in
and
the
punch
air.
it, and just
Yeah.
acting really.
But he
he's
acted
quite
very
odd.
goofy.
He's really
and
an
that kind
odd
of
guy.
that scared Letterman. He became frightened by that, even though he has had guests on, regular guests on, Father something. I can't remember this other guy, but he was crazy too. But at least he got invited back. But yeah, I think that killed his career. By the way,
Yeah, Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
didn't appear in too many movies after that.
no, he didn't
appearance.
after that. No.
Yeah.
Okay, birthdays or
Yeah.
celebrations. What do you got there?
History. Anything?
Let's take a look. See, there wasn't a ton in history today. It was Kamala's birthday yesterday, though.
It was.
I didn't even
Kamala
realize
Harris.
that. You
She's
must
60,
have written that.
Yeah,
on
I
there.
did. I did. She's 60 years old now.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday to Kamala
Yeah.
Harris.
She's not 78. Too
No.
old to
God.
run for president.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
A couple other people who have birthdays today. Alfred Nobel of the Nobel Prizes. Carrie Fisher was born today in 1956. And I know you love her. It's Kim Kardashian's birthday, Gordy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Your favorite show.
Oh sure.
You're always
Yeah,
talking
no.
about it.
Oh my God, no! I can't stand any of the Kardashians. It's just the only normal one was Robert Kardashian and the father, and he just apparently didn't have that influence on his kids. I don't know. He seemed fairly normal.
I wouldn't be able to recognize them. I don't know what they look like. I hate them. I just hate the name. I hate celebrity news now.
I
Used to
never
watch
watched
ET all the time way back
Hmm.
when. I don't know why, but now I hate
It's
all that.
garbage television. Why were you into that, John?
TMZ
Yeah.
and the whole thing.
Right.
Well, yeah, it was garbage, but I had a morning show at that time too, and it was more entertainment than it was politics. So yeah, I had to come up with little clips and things like that. So, look, I'm
Sam-
making excuses for myself on this. Okay, don't blame me.
Yeah, I'm
Robert
right there with you.
Kardashian.
Yeah,
The old man Kardashian was one of the lawyers in the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Hey, I'm gonna go to the hospital, guys.
All right,
I'll talk to you later. Okay.
All right.
man.
Good
All
luck,
right.
Gordy.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
helping out,
much.
Gord. Yeah,
All right.
we'll talk to you later.
All right.
I hope. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll see.
See. Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back. No, he didn't leave. There he is.
I'm right here.
All right, man. Well, take it easy, and you got a
Yeah.
ride from Catherine, correct?
Yes.
All
yep.
right.
And then, I think she's going to give me a ride home, although my daughter may be visiting here, so she might do it. I don't know. She's coming in from Baraboo.
Well,
My
whatever
daughter.
happens, give me a call, if
right.
you do need a ride, okay?
All right, man.
All right. man.
Appreciate it. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Talk
Have
to
a
you
great
later.
show.
Hey, thanks for joining us this
Yeah.
morning.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Meatloaf fan?
I am, yes.
Okay, cool.
I loved him at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stage show.
You know what's significant about this album and today?
Bat Out of Hell?
Yeah.
What?
It was released today.
Oh,
in
it was.
1977.
I did not know that, yeah. Wow. All
Really
right.
good album, one of my favorites.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And Meatloaf, unfortunately, a great singer, incredible performer,
Yeah.
right wing as hell.
Oh
Really?
no.
Well, that's upsetting.
I knew he was a little crazy, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, you never know. Something happens. All right. 92.7.
Something goes wrong in their head.
WMDX, the John and Gordy show. Gordy, of course, is going in for surgery today.
Do we want to point out the background? I don't know. I don't think Gordy even noticed it behind you.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he did. Oh, yeah. If you look on our screen in the back.
There's a large X over Gordy's
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
He has been banished from the studio.
As you know, we encourage people while they're driving to watch X while, of course, channeling their Bluetooth speakers in their car. So anyway, that's the way we handled it here on the show. Let's talk to our special guest this morning, Matthew Rothschild, and it's something that we also want to announce here is your podcast that we've just started here at Civic Media.
Yeah, real happy to be doing a podcast for Civic Media called Wisconsin Forward, and I'm just trying to explain Wisconsin in this first episode called The Riddle of Wisconsin as to, why we're such a schizophrenic state, why we are so close every election between the Democrats and Republicans, and also, are we at each other's throats really as neighbors? I mean, I live in the town of Dunn, and there are Trump signs up there, and there were Biden signs up, and now there are Harris signs up, and are we yelling and screaming at each other? Actually, we're not.
Right.
And it's interesting, There was a 60-minute show last night about Door County and how close Door County is and how it's been a good predictor of who's going to win. And someone interviewed there said, we get along even when we disagree up here in Door County. So, and that's kind of how it is in the town of Dunn too. But this Riddle of Wisconsin first episode, I'm delighted to have on that Jay Hack of Common Cause, Charles Franklin, the great pollster from Marquette, and then some commentary from Todd Albaugh, the Todd Albaugh Show here on Civic Media, and Trygve Olsen, who's on Todd's show a lot with the Lincoln Project. So I think that's a good one. And then the second one, which is also up now, is called The Presidential Race here in Wisconsin. Again, we got Charles Franklin going over the polls. And then we have commentary from Todd Albaugh, Dom Salvia, the Dom Salvia Show, and Maggie Dawn of the Maggie Dawn Show. I think we have a little clip of Maggie I wouldn't mind playing.
All right, why don't we play that?
Recognizing this dangerous combination, Maggie Dawn, what do you tell your listeners? What do you tell people who oddly may still be on the fence? I don't know how they can sit on the fence at this point, but what do you tell them, that kind of elevator talk about what to do now?
Yeah, but the elevator pitch, the quick one is, listen, to save our democracy, if we care about that, the only way to do that is through our democracy. It is going to require you to make a choice that you may not particularly like your options about. That's okay. That's what adults do every day. It's okay to feel torn. Because I assume I'm talking to somebody, if I'm talking to somebody that really hasn't made up their mind, they're torn. And I'm not going to call that bad faith. I'm going to say, all right, I believe your place of being torn is totally legit. And I feel that. Let's help work through that. What kind of information do you need? What would persuade you? And then at the end of the day, if we believe in this experiment and you believe that the middle class is the backbone of this country and you truly want to engage in those issues and you believe in law and order, take the time to look at it. And on November 5th, look deep into your heart, go into that ballot box, that polling place, and cast your ballot where your heart tells you to cast it. Because at the end of the day, I cannot give up hope that the greatness of this country will always remain in its people. And again, to save our democracy this time around, we must do that through that very democracy. And to do so unafraid to join issue and to have discussions, but to ask one another, our neighbors and our friends and our coworkers and the people that we don't maybe necessarily agree with on everything, to look into your heart and go vote on November 5th.
Thanks, Maggie.
So that was Maggie Dawn on the second episode of the Wisconsin Forward podcast that I've been doing. I mean, I think, she gets to the real heart of the question here at the end about preserving our democracy. And John, on Saturday night, I was here at Leopold Bookstore on Regent Street.
Yes.
For a talk by a Yale professor, Jason Stanley, who was talking about the same thing about preserving democracy. And he was using the F word, the fascism word, about Trump and how scary it is. And he said we have a historic responsibility right now to defeat Donald Trump and preserve our democracy. So he was just underlying what Maggie Dawn was saying right there on that podcast.
Yeah, I did pull out a quote. The hope is that together, Republicans and Democrats, we can defeat an existential threat to our country. We will go down in the history books if we preserve our democracy. That's my favorite line, by the way. We will go down in history. Really? We've got to vote the right way so we can make the history books, Matt.
I mean, it is a heavy responsibility. I do think it's kind of, our hour of destiny right now. And it doesn't seem like people are recognizing just how crucial, how pivotal this race could be.
Right.
Because if Donald Trump wins, given all that he said about being a dictator on day one, or at least for that one day, and saying they're enemies from within. He said it again yesterday, I guess, about Schiff and Pelosi and all this authoritarian talk, enemies of the people, poisoning the blood. This is straight out of Mein Kampf, as the Yale professor said Saturday night. He said it within about the first minute, and we all just kind of gasped,
Well, you wrote a hair-raising conversation,
Yeah, it got serious real fast.
Yeah, it did. Stanley said the attacks on the mass media and the fact checkers, the assaults on school teachers and professors who want to tell the truth about U.S. history, all this is part of the authoritarian project.
Yeah.
And you could almost say authoritarian project 2025.
Yeah, and he talked about Project 2025 and what a serious threat that is to our democracy. He talked about, other parallels, the attack on trans. I mean, all Trump is talking about is immigrants and trans people. And enemies from within. Right. It's just all scare tactics. It's all, just going after tiny minorities and trying to inflame people's worst passions. And I got to say, it scares the bejesus out of me. It really does.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in history in the U.S. anyway. And, Maggie, of course, is saying, look within, try to figure out, which is the best way to go and then just vote. But at the very same time, you may believe in a few of the things that Trump is pushing, but when you look at overall the effect of what he has planned, you really, you don't have to look far to decide really what you should do when you vote, because this is really a pivotal part of the history of this country. Again, we could be included into the history books if we vote the right way, but this is a pivotal part. We could slide into authoritarianism just as easily as that. We have watched the MAGAs become very compliant with the president. We've seen the politicians agree with him, no matter what they may really think. They have agreed with him on everything.
Well, those are the people who are going straight to hell if there is a hell. And I don't believe in hell. But, Mitch McConnell knows what a scoundrel Donald Trump is. If you listen to Mitch McConnell's speech on the second impeachment, if you read the speech, it was like, I'm voting for impeaching this guy because he said that Trump was responsible for what happened on January 6th.
Yeah.
And yet he didn't have the courage of his convictions and didn't vote to convict Donald Trump in the second impeachment. If he had and told some other Republican senators, and he had the power to twist their arms, Donald Trump couldn't have run for president this time. We'd have been through with this menace.
That's right. Do we have a cut here? Do you want to get to the cut from Liz Cheney?
Sure. I love what Liz Cheney's doing, and she's in Waukesha today with Kamala Harris.
Right, exactly, yes.
And Liz Cheney has been really sticking her neck out. I think she deserves the Medal of Freedom, the National Medal of Freedom, Presidential Medal of Freedom. She and Kinzinger and a couple other people, even maybe Mike Pence, just for doing his job when the pressure was on for him to abdicate his responsibilities. But yeah, Liz Cheney.
She stood out during the impeachments.
She did, and she stood out then. She stood out during the hearing. She was great during the hearing. She's been great since then. She was great in Ripon when she made some great talk. I mean, it really is important that everyone from Liz Cheney, all the way to AOC and Bernie Sanders agrees that our democracy is on the line right now, and whatever differences we have in policy, we should not worry about those at this crisis time, but go out and not only vote for Kamala Harris, but get everybody we know to vote for Kamala Harris, because it's really tight.
Well, of course, the right wing, the Republicans, the MAGAs all want this tax cut, this major tax cut that go to the wealthy, mostly anyway. They want that so much that they would actually vote Trump in as president. I think, maybe hold off on the tax cut, because the tax cut is coming. Under $400,000, the tax cut is coming to every American. It's just not going to go to the top this time. So you're still going to get it. You can save democracy at the same time.
Yeah, unless you're in the top 1%, you're going to, you're getting a tax cut anyway.
Right.
And for those who are in the top 1%, is it really that important for you to get this? Is your tax rate more important than saving democracy? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I know there are a bunch of reasons why people, are voting for Trump. Some are in the cult, and you can't really get them out of the cult. Other people are traditional Republicans who just want to vote for their home team. It's like, are you for the Packers or are you for the Vikings? But I hope we can get past that kind of self-identity and kind of hometown club rooting and do what's right. And what's right now is to save our democracy, and that's why I'm urging people to vote for Kamala Harris, and we talk a lot about that in the second episode of this podcast, Wisconsin Forward.
Yeah, one of the things everybody's kind of noticed is that the MAGA wing of the Republican Party has completely flipped on exactly what the Republican Party used to stand for, and that was small government. At this point, I think they've realized, they figured that if you control government, you become the big government, you can get the things you want passed.
Yeah, I mean, they have no real ideology here except for what Donald Trump tells them. So
Yes.
Is Russia our enemy or is Russia our friend? I mean, it's right out of Animal Farm or 1984. I mean, it changes overnight.
Yeah, that's insane. It really is. But the other thing, too, is I have a MAGA friend in Milwaukee that oftentimes texts me and calls me and, brings up these points. He's caught up in the rabbit holes, the small issues. He's really just wrapped up in this idea that Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's. She wasn't there. If she can lie about that, then she can lie about anything. And I said, you have given up the argument on lying. Your candidate lies constantly. I don't think and I've mentioned this on the show, I do a lot of research when I play these cuts that Trump says, and I have found out none of it is true. I think it's a 100% fact check on him. It's all false.
Yeah, he can't say good morning without lying. So,
Exactly.
But a lot of his followers, I mean, listen, they're on an IV drip from Fox News and from right-wing talk radio, and it's all they consume.
That's crazy stuff. All right. We were thinking we might get a call from Bradley Whitford, who was a guest in Madison yesterday. And he was in Milwaukee as well. I don't know if he was in Milwaukee before they came into Madison or not. Do you have any idea at all there?
About
Sam?
him calling in?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a call,
All right.
so no.
I know they're on tour
Yes.
for Kamala Harris right now,
They
the
are.
West Wing staff.
Yeah. I'm going to try and find a little cut here. I think I have time. Maybe not.
No, you don't have time,
Okay,
John.
I don't have time to get Bradley Whitford in here. It's a fantastic thing. I do want to play Martin Sheen's speech that I managed to collect. We'll play that next right here on WMDX 92.7, the John Peterson Show. We've X'd out Gordy already. And Matthew Rothschild is our guest host this morning. As we brew our coffee this morning, you're listening to 92.7 FM. WMDX, the John and Gordy Show. And filling in for Gordy this morning, Matt Rothschild, our special guest. And we'll be talking to him more about some of the issues that we have here in Wisconsin. And we'll be getting to a few cuts that you found very interesting from Lizzo.
Yeah, Lizzo was in Detroit with Kamala Harris over the weekend and endorsing Kamala Harris in a full-throated way.
It was fantastic. It really was. But I found something that I thought kind of interesting, and I hope everybody else feels the same way. I've gotten blowback on what I think is interesting. So why don't we play, we're really, Schoolhouse Rock. A lot of people grew up on Schoolhouse Rock. And we have the Schoolhouse Rock DVDs, and we watch them every once in a while. But everybody is taking off on that still. And this is another takeoff on it. We have, and we might even play it later, we have the Schoolhouse Rock version of Project 2025. We might play that later on. But this is going to be about the pill. And I think you'll find this rather interesting.
What in the world is the pill?
The pill, it's birth control. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Gen Zers is not familiar with the term. Could we play that?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Well, another great day being a woman in America. Time to take my trusty birth control pill.
Why is she looking so sad, though?
I'm just a pill, yes, I'm only a pill, and I'm sitting here ready for Jill. Yeah, she takes me once a day, but it's breaking my heart that some cranky old dudes might try to keep us apart. Keep us apart? Well, Republicans say they're not banning me, but 195 Republican congressmen voted against protecting your right to birth control.
The Supreme Court already took away abortion rights. You'd think they'd want to make it easy for women to get birth control.
Tell that to the right, yeah, they're making us fight for the right to our own uteri.
Oh my, just think of what's next.
Should I just not have sex?
Wait, what?
No, silly, just not with men. So they'd rather I have sex with women? Well, they're not too crazy about that either. I guess we'll just have to vote. Yeah, don't leave it to chance. Keep the choice in your hands and keep Trump and Vance right out of your pants. Cause I'm just a pill. Yes, you're only a pill. And I have no place on Capitol Hill.
There it is. Quite nice.
Yeah. I do think this issue, the Dobbs decision, abortion rights, is underreported right now. I mean, in the last several elections, this issue has been key. And the polls have been wrong in undervaluing women coming out and voting on this issue. Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of the main reasons why the polls may be wrong right now in saying that Kamala Harris is losing ground, because there's a whole cohort of young women, 18 to 22, who've never voted before, have not registered to vote until recently. And the pollsters are only doing registered voters. And so they're not counting these young women. And I think these young women may tip the balance toward Kamala Harris. It's one of the reasons I'm optimistic right now, because of this abortion issue and the pollsters not taking that cohort seriously.
I agree with you on that. We've talked about it here on the program that a lot of people are registering and those people aren't part of the polling. And because that registration has gone through the roof after Kamala got in and then after
Are you thinking of Taylor Swift?
Yes, Taylor Swift endorsed.
I mean,
that was it.
I do think Taylor Swift's going to have a big impact. I also want to remind voters that you can, here in Wisconsin, register same day. All you got to do is bring your ID and bring proof of residency, and you can register and vote on November 5th.
Do you know off the top of your head what counts as proof of residency?
An MG&E, a utility bill,
any
utility bill, a bank statement, anything like that. You can have them on your phone too. That'll count also.
There was one time, I think it was the 2022 election, that I had to register same day, and I didn't realize that you needed proof of residence. Luckily, I only lived like 2 blocks away from my polling place, so I could just walk back home and grab something and walk back to the polling place. But keep that in mind if you haven't registered yet.
Yeah, and also early voting starts tomorrow. And so if you're wondering whether you have the right documents, I mean, you can go to the early voting place, and if you don't have the right ones, you can come back anytime the next 2 weeks. So make sure you vote, have a plan to vote, have a plan to bring someone with you, and make sure your friends are voting too. You can start tomorrow here in Madison anyway.
It really is that important. We were warning people back in 2016 that they could lose their right to an abortion. And we stressed adamantly that there is a choice on that Supreme Court, and things could go wrong on the Supreme Court if you didn't vote the right way. And for some reason, they still voted Trump in, and we saw what happened. We don't want that to happen again, or at least solidify the conservatives on the Supreme Court, who are very activists at this point.
Yeah, and Trump's been bragging about his 3 Supreme Court justices outlawing Roe v. Wade. I mean, he did what the far right wanted him to do.
Right.
And do you want him to keep appointing more far right justices to the U.S. Supreme Court? I sure don't.
Well, that's true. And there was a debate this weekend between Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde, and we're going to get into that next hour, and we're going to talk about that because there were some interesting elements to that debate that I know you and I both agree were absolutely off the charts wrong.
Yeah, and Tammy's great on this issue of abortion rights. She's been a real leader, and she wants to restore Roe v. Wade in the U.S. Senate.
Well, one of the great things about Tammy is when early on she sent out a form in the mail that showed a state map, and on that state map, she had all the funding that she had brought into the state in all these localities. I mean, that map was filled. And she is out there plugging away, trying to get funding for this state, for farmers, for rural communities, for cities, for every possible thing you can think of, school choice. She's against that, obviously, but for schools, she's out there.
Yeah, she's been a great senator, really delivering for the people of Wisconsin.
All right, we'll be right back with more right here on WMDX.
Let the sun shine.
It's the John and Gordy Show.
Up in the morning at the crack of dawn.
Wind has broken.
Now the morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball.
Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head.
7 a.m. comes too fast. Roll out of the bed to that alarm clock blast. It's a beautiful morning. Good morning, good morning.
92.7 WMDX, John and Gordy Show. Broadcasting from State Street, Madison, Wisconsin, and a great day coming up, a high around 78 degrees. We have 55 right now. Gordy, of course, is not here today, but filling in. Matt Rothschild is in the studio helping us out, and we'll be getting to a few things that you wanted to bring in, like a few cuts from Lizzo. But right now, we have Terry Bell in the studio with the big story.
Morning, John.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good,
Yeah.
good. The big story today.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the campaign for president happening in Wisconsin.
Big
as you might
surprise,
guess.
right?
I looked and looked for something else.
Something
but
else.
That's what it's going to be. So, Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be in Wisconsin tonight. Looks like it's going to be Brookfield at about 8 p.m.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about this is that she'll be making a joint appearance with Republican former Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
Together, yeah.
So that appearance in Ripon was not a one-off.
Yeah,
In fact, Cheney is joining Harris on 3 different what they call moderated conversations today and tonight. So-
Charlie Sykes is doing some of that moderating.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Newsflash.
This is
Thanks,
crazy
thanks, man.
stuff. This is a crazy world, isn't it?
Upside down.
Yeah, to think that Kamala Harris would be sharing a stage with Charlie Sykes and Liz Cheney is pretty remarkable, and an indication of where we are today.
Yes, where we are. It's just an amazing thing to see all of these people from the right get together and vote and be out there standing next to Kamala Harris.
I mean,
And
Charlie
endorsing.
Sykes, brought us Scott Walker with his
Exactly, yeah.
right-wing radio in the Milwaukee
There may
area.
not be a Scott Walker over Charlie Sykes.
Yeah, but he's been a never-Trumper, and so if you consider that, I guess it's not as surprising. But yeah, I don't have warm feelings toward Charlie Sykes for bringing us Scott Walker.
Yeah. So it's so that's tonight. Last night, J.D. Vance was in Waukesha, and tomorrow, Tim Walz and Barack Obama will be in Madison. So tomorrow. It'll be 2 weeks until the election. So we are going to be seeing a lot of these folks.
Yeah, I can't believe the election is supposedly that close in Wisconsin. But again, they're not counting the people, the new registrants.
That's true.
So that is something that I think Matt and I both are keeping our fingers crossed on.
Yeah, I'm hoping young women who aren't registered yet and are going to register in the next 2 weeks and go out and vote for Kamala Harris will help bring Kamala Harris over the top. I also think some of these moderate Republicans that Liz Cheney and Charlie Sykes are talking to will make a difference as well.
Yeah, I think it's no accident. This is going to be in Brookfield tonight, Waukesha County, an old hardline red county, which is getting more purple all the time.
Yep, it is. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. With these endorsements from Republicans and others who have been on the right and may even have given up their affiliation to the Republican Party, it seems to me that they should be noticing the fact that the Democrats, the liberals, progressives are trying to get together with them, that they're open for a different opinion. They're open to these individuals that used to be in their opposition, that these Republicans would think, you know what, maybe these guys are a little bit more fair than we have been as a Republican Party.
Well, and Kamala Harris says she'll have a Republican in the cabinet, and there's a huge craving, I think, with among a majority of Americans to get over this divisiveness and try to solve problems together. So I think that's a smart move by Kamala Harris too. I'm also reminded of another Republican, Dale Schultz, who was the leading Republican in the state Senate here. Mm-hmm. He was the majority leader of the Republicans in the state Senate. He's from Richland Center, and he came out last week for Kamala Harris. Do we have a couple of those clips? We got
We do.
two short statements from Dale Schultz that
All right.
I think we should listen to.
All right, let's listen to one.
After 50 years in politics, 32 years in the state legislature as a proud Republican, I am throwing my support to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in their quest for the White House.
Then his second clip here, he goes on to say that he hopes his friends and neighbors also vote for Harris.
Yeah,
Right,
this is an important pitch right here.
I hope that my friends and neighbors who so generously supported me for those 32 years will pay attention to the issues, listen to the candidates, and come to a conclusion that the Harris-Walz team is the best for our future and will get out and vote. I'll say it again, we'll get out and vote because it is so important. Our future depends on it.
And, Dale Schultz was such a great advocate for being against Act 10. That was my introduction to Dale Schultz. I wasn't real familiar with him at first, but when he came out against it, he made all the sense in the world. It was hard to even believe that he was a Republican.
Yeah, he showed a lot of courage then, and his Republican buddies hated him for doing that.
Yes.
And he was kind of, excommunicated for a second there from, his Republican colleagues. But yeah, he did the brave thing and voted against Act 10. He voted against the mining bill that the Republicans were trying to, cram right through there. And so he's showed his independent streak before at pivotal times here in Wisconsin, and he's showing it again. And he's one of my heroes, Dale Schultz. I went out to Richland Center once and met with him a few years ago, and we went to a little coffee shop. Everyone knows Dale Schultz out in Richland Center.
Yeah.
And so I hope his pitch to people who've known him throughout his career will take it seriously. And, I know some people who voted for Trump before are not voting for him again. I know some business people who recognize that, maybe they'd get a little bit of a benefit maybe from that 1% tax cut that Trump's proposing, but it's not worth it to them because they see not only, how chaotic he is, and business people want stability. Trump won't bring them stability, but also what a threat he is to democracy.
Right.
And, this is, if you had these two people, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, come before you and you're on the hiring committee, it wouldn't even be close. I mean, one person is smart, prepared, on point, pleasant. The other person wings it, it's out of control, telling ridiculous off-color jokes, and that's what you want.
Yeah, that Arnold Palmer thing really hit the fan, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, talking about the size of Arnold Palmer's putter. I mean, come on.
Well, the vote is really important, and you mentioned this to me last night, and we came up with a couple of clips from Lizzo talking about the importance of getting out there and voting and why it's important. Why don't we play cut 157 first here? Let's check it out.
There's a lot of people who feel like their vote doesn't matter, but I say to that, if your vote didn't matter, then voter suppression would not exist. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't discourage young people from going to the polls. If your vote didn't matter, our parents and our grandparents would not have marched and fought for our right to vote.
And she also brought up the fact that, this is a democracy-saving election. And she said, no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, and let's check out what the rest of that comment is here.
Whether you're a Democrat or Republican or neither, you deserve a president who listens when you speak. You deserve a president who respects when you protest. You deserve a president who understands that their job is to be a public servant. And Kamala Harris has dedicated her entire career to public service, from DA to VP. And I think Mrs. Commander-in-Chief has a nice ring to it.
It's interesting. Respects you when you protest. Donald Trump wanted to have the military kneecap Black Lives Matter protesters. I mean, imagine that. Sending out the military to shoot people in the knees who are peacefully protesting.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they wanted to do that here on Act 10 as well. remember? The Capitol Police were very nice, very friendly to all the protesters. There was no damage done to the Capitol. And what they wanted, Republicans wanted to do, Scott Walker wanted to do, was crack some skulls.
Yeah, he talked about getting that baseball bat out when
Yeah.
he was getting a phony phone call from someone impersonating,
And
one of the big donors.
And wanted to change the First Amendment, essentially, by creating rules and regulations about how you can protest, the number of people that can protest, fees to pay for security if you do protest. None of that worked out.
No, thankfully. But, I think Lizzo coming out for Kamala Harris, Magic Johnson also
Yes,
in Michigan
yeah, mhm.
came out for Kamala Harris. I think that'll matter.
Well, let's hope that a lot of people go out also down ticket and vote for Tammy Baldwin, who has done an awful lot for this state. I mean, just a tremendous amount of work for Wisconsin. In fact, some of her answers that she gave during the debate that she gave, I mean, they were specific to Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, Tammy's been great. I was reading the State Journal yesterday, Wisconsin State Journal, which used to have a reputation as the very conservative paper here. They endorsed Tammy. Again,
Yeah.
they endorsed her the first time. They endorsed her this time. Cooperation results make Baldwin best. Let me just read a paragraph or two,
yes.
if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
The Wisconsin State Journal editorial board endorses Baldwin's reelection. Her record is solid. She's shown she can get sensible things done. She focuses intently on the needs of her constituents across the state rather than grandstanding for attention in Washington. Baldwin is the better choice and the proven choice for Wisconsin's future. She's more likely to uphold American democratic principles, pull people together, and represent everyone. She's a champion for popular causes and a model of civility. That's our own Wisconsin State Journal.
Things have changed. It's amazing. I mean, it looks like we've been right all along.
But right, I mean, Tammy, she does deliver.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched that debate on Friday. I was kind of furious actually at the rules, and I don't know if she had agreed to these rules. The people who were bringing the debate, the journalist said you can't answer a direct ad hominem attack until the very end. And all Hovde was doing was calling a liar. He must have called her a liar 16 times there. He was playing the Donald Trump playbook and just being mean. And I was watching with my wife, and she was disgusted, as I imagine most women across Wisconsin listening to this guy talking down to Tammy Baldwin were really put off by it.
Well, I do want to get into the rules of that, and we can have a little discussion about that. Then a few clips from that debate as well. This is the Early Morning Family Show, John Peterson with Matt Rothschild, and we'll have more about the debate. Tammy Baldwin, Eric Hovde in a moment. Those loans, and then call them in.
Morning, Brittany.
Good morning.
And so he screwed the business.
Yeah, oh yeah, they went out of business.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just closing. Yeah. Of course, then he's taking
Yeah,
money
Gordy's
from the
out today
cartel.
now.
I heard that.
Okay.
Hey, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good, good.
Good, good.
Now, not a lot of weather talk here.
It's gonna
No?
it's gonna get cold now, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be a really hot day today, isn't it?
Yeah, near record breaking today and then cold by Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit of rain sprinkled in.
Oh no.
Yay, we need it. You
Yeah,
did
we
have
do.
a fire.
That's true. That's
Had a
true.
fire in Columbia County from debris burning.
Oh.
Bad.
I was
bad.
worried
They must
barbecuing
not have
yesterday
listened
that I
to
was going
you.
to start a fire.
Well, we've got a pellet grill now, so
Ooh.
yeah, it's pretty nice. Although we were smoking chicken quarters the other night, and we're waiting. And we like 6 hours. We smoked those damn things. So my wife goes out and looks. Oh no, the pellets ran out.
20 seconds.
So the grill was cold.
God.
Chicken was cold.
No.
We don't want that.
No. but they're great. You should try them.
10 seconds.
WMDX, the John and Gordy early morning family show. Gordy is out. Matt Rothschild, he's here in the studio, and we're going to get to the Tammy Baldwin-Eric Hovde debate in just a few moments and the rules to that debate, which were out of this world crazy. But first, we've got to talk about weather from Brittany Merlot. She is on the line right now, and I understand that this wonderful warm weather that we have right now is on its way out. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Today is the last day for the entire state to enjoy those 80s, near record-breaking heat. The winds are going to be calmer today as well, and just beautiful sunshine for a good chunk of today. Now, we will see some clouds rolling in by later on tonight. We will see those temperatures start to take a little dip tomorrow. Still very comfortable and still above average. We'll be in the low 70s. Chances of a few scattered showers in the morning hours. And then for Wednesday, the cold front really pushes in. We're talking highs in those mid to upper 50s.
Wow,
That's it.
That's nice. I like that.
Yes.
I hope they kill off some of these Asian beetles because they have invaded everything and everywhere. I think this is the first year of my kids, 25 and 22, have noticed Asian beetles. They're actually worried about it. They want to spray them and kill them. And I said, there's no way you can do any of that stuff with these Asian beetles. They're everywhere. They're within the walls of the houses on the exterior.
Yeah, just the last week they've come out in droves.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they of course dive at you. They can bite. I've had that happen. They go down your shirt or something like that.
No,
they press
thanks.
on it a little bit and they bite. It's not good. Yeah.
And this is a new thing, or is this kind of common this time of year?
This is common. Yeah.
Okay.
They usually come out in this warm weather, one last hurrah, and they like to inhabit the southern exposure of a building, usually.
Okay.
They like the
Okay.
heat of the building for some reason.
Yes. I've noticed
Yeah.
that with the ladybugs up north. I have
Yeah.
been dive bombed with ladybugs. Like they all
Well, those
attack.
are the Asian beetles. Those are the Asian beetles.
That's what it is?
Yes,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Okay,
yeah.
now I'm connecting the two. I don't like them. I'm over
The
it.
ladybug is a nice, friendly bug that we never see anymore. I'm not quite sure, of course, who can differentiate, but yeah, it's crazy out there.
I even had one fly into my car yesterday, so it was kind
Oh,
of
I know. And I don't want it to fly into my face or anything like that while I'm driving,
neither.
so I'm just a crazy person in my vehicle.
Yeah,
More
you're-
crazy
You're
than I
giving
am.
me flashbacks, John. I was driving my Beetle actually, and I had one of the vent windows open, and a bee flew into my
Ooh,
car and
yeah.
stung my face when I
No.
was driving.
Wow.
It was
What?
not a good time. No.
What did you do? Did you pull over
Well,
immediately?
yeah,
or did
I
you have a
like
freak
yeah,
out?
because it stung me like right on the corner of my eye, and so I couldn't see out of that eye for a little bit, so I just
Wow.
had to pull over really quickly.
That's crazy. Of course, we've Brittany and I have talked about the northern Wisconsin horseflies.
Yeah.
They are horrible. Anyway, well, you don't want to go up north.
What? I know.
Yeah,
Actually, I was
I know.
hiking. And
Yeah.
Here's what happened to me. A snake went through the trail. Like in the leaves, it was
Yeah.
jolting. I screamed like a little girl. I really did. I went flying in the air. I was over it. I couldn't get out of the woods faster.
Wow.
Yep,
Great
yeah.
story. Could you save that? We'll bring that back later on.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you are you're a death-defying acrobat in the wilderness.
Yes.
So she is nuts. We talked about that a number of times here on the show, and Matt Rothschild is our guest host because Gordy is out because he's getting surgery on his ear, and that's what's happening now. So
Interesting.
you didn't know that, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay. Oh yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
But I
he's
do
gonna have
see-
bionic ear. He's gonna have a bionic ear.
Good for him.
Okay. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say your picture behind you, if you can see on
Oh,
the
yeah.
stream,
Oh.
you've got him. He's not here right now.
That's right. Yes, you're the first one to notice. All right. Brittany, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.
All right. Let's get to the debate between Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde. The rules were crazy. They were outlandish. And I have a little clip of the host of that, like Jill Geisler, I believe, from Milwaukee Television. She was the host of this. Let's check out what she said in regards to that cut 145.
Now, we thank the candidates for their time and sometimes for their patience with us as well, as we had to get as many questions in as we could and sometimes cut you off.
Okay. That seems to be the problem the news media has, Matt. My biggest complaint is that they never ask the follow-up questions. They try to get all the questions that they have a list of in on that interview. They let the person get away with saying whatever they want to say without ever disputing any of the information.
I was very annoyed at it too, because they announced at the beginning that if you are attacked by the other side, you can't respond. And I've never seen a debate like that. That's not a debate. The debate is where, you know, you have an interchange, and it's not like going to question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hate that. I wanted a real debate that's dynamic and organic. And also it put Tammy Baldwin in a terrible position because Hovde was attacking her constantly from the get-go. And what's she supposed to do? Wait until her last 1 minute and say he said these 10 things that were ridiculous and wrong and inflammatory? I mean,
because that was their closing statement.
Yeah, that was the time where they want to make a pitch for the vote.
Yes.
And they prepare for that, and they're going to give that because that's more important than being or appearing to be petty because you're responding to something nasty and inaccurate that Hovde said.
Yeah.
But there he was just being a jerk the whole time, calling a liar, and then, you know, accusing her of this, that, and the other thing, and she wasn't able to respond in real time. And that's what a debate's supposed to be. You respond in real time.
Well, you mentioned he called her a liar a number of times. I think we're going to see this a lot in all the candidates, something they learned from Trump. I have this cut here. This is cut 144.
Mr. Hovde, your response.
I can't believe what I just heard. I mean, it's one lie after another.
Yeah,
Man, the one thing you have perfected in Washington is your ability to lie.
Yeah,
I can't even believe you have the ability to stand here and say something like that. Look,
Mr. Hovde.
Look, every single one of Senator Baldwin's ads has been a lie. I'm supposedly the jerk from California. Look, there's so many lies that Senator Baldwin's made up. As I said, she's perfected the art of lying. Where I'm from, where I live, the things I've said, she takes this much what I've said and puts it out of context and then tries to say I'm saying something different than I've said.
Eric Hovde just said something about lying. Independent fact checkers have fact checked him 19 times with 19 falses. So keep that in mind when you listen to him.
And there you go.
Yeah, it just was, it wasn't a fun debate to watch because they didn't allow the back and forth. And she came with the best line, though, stay out of my personal life. And most women in Wisconsin want you to stay out of their personal lives, too.
Absolutely. This is the John and Gordy Early Morning Family Show. Matt Rothschild is our guest this morning. John Peterson, and we'll be back in just a few moments. Hello, Paul.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Good.
Good to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, how are you? Playing cards today?
Morning. Don't know. Schedule's up in the air today.
All right. I'm going to be there.
Okay.
You're going to be there? You're not?
Oh, I'm playing cards
All
at noon,
All
yeah.
right.
My daughter called me once.
So what's going?
Dad, why are you playing cards
going
at
on
noon?
today?
Paul, do you want to talk about, I was thinking of asking you just about, first about the presidential race and then maybe about Tammy, but then do you want to talk about the referendum?
We can talk anything you guys want to focus on. Presidential race obviously is the most important thing we're all facing.
Yeah, I want to get you on that.
All right, let's talk about that first then. All right.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Teeth R Us, the world's largest tooth care center. Remember, when you have a bad tooth pulled at Teeth R Us, we'll remove 2 healthy teeth absolutely free. And don't forget to bring the kids along to swim in our heated Olympic-sized 40-foot spit sink.
Fantastic. Sounds like fun. 92.7 FM and WMDX, the early morning family show. John Peterson with Matt Rothschild. And on the phone right now, we have our special guest. Once a month, we talk to former Mayor Paul Soglin. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hello. Well, a lot of stuff to talk about, Paul, and I think maybe we should start talking about the election coming up here, probably the number one story, and we've gotten so many visits from the candidates here in the state. What do you think about the election so far?
Well, obviously, like most people, I'm tremendously nervous about what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
I've been following, among other things, the polling averages that the New York Times posts, which historically their collection of averaging has been pretty accurate. And a couple of the states keep flipping.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the last couple of weeks, Michigan looked like it was leaning towards Harris. Now it's leaning towards Trump. On the other hand, North Carolina was leaning towards Trump and now leaning towards Harris. But I'd feel a lot better if I knew that Harris locked in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, because that would pretty much cement it. Now, the key, of course, is getting Wisconsin voters out. That's our responsibility. We here in Dane County are now as influential in impacting the state results as is Milwaukee County, which is we're about 60% of Milwaukee County's size. But we're pulling in pluralities for the Democrats in the last couple of elections as great as Milwaukee County. So we've just got to generate that turnout.
Got to do it.
Paul, what would be your closing pitch for Kamala Harris for anyone who's listening who doesn't know who they're going to vote for or how to, convince their son, daughter, friend? What argument does she need to make?
I think the most important one is one that we do see occasionally on the ads. They're not all focused this way, but I'm for you. Donald Trump is not. No matter what you see in terms of the debates, in terms of the arguments being made on all of the variety of social and economic issues, when it comes down to it, the real Donald Trump is the one who jokingly bragged to his billionaire friends how much he loved them and that he was going to cut their taxes.
Yeah.
And that Kamala Harris is going to zero in on, among other things, housing, which is one of the key drivers in raising the cost of living for so many tens of millions of Americans. if she focuses on housing and once elected, she'll probably be the most effective president in that regard in our history.
Yeah.
Our national housing policy has been an absolute disaster, even when we started in the 1930s.
I mean, rents are astronomical right now. The ability of young people to buy their first home is virtually impossible. The housing issue is big. Paul, I want to ask you another question. You know, why is this race so close? Or what does it say about America? What does it say about our fellow citizens that a guy like Donald Trump can be so close to winning again when he's shown us that he has total disregard for our system of government?
I think it has to do with two things. One is we now call it the politics of resentment, and the other is something historical within this country, and that is conservative right-wing populism. This country's got a long history of politicians appealing to the people of this nation based on fear, being scared of other people. We've got, within a decade of the American Revolution and the establishment of this country's government, we passed our first Alien and Sedition Act. We were terrified that aristocrats from France who were being beheaded were going to come to the United States and pollute our blood. And when you look at the treatment, whether it's of obviously slaves, whether it's the arrival of the Irish, the Polish, how we treated the Chinese laborers in the West, we look at the restrictive covenants on housing, the redlining. Politicians have successfully played on the fear of average Americans and said, you have more to fear from different racial and ethnic and religious groups than you do from the robber barons whom I serve. And Donald Trump is no different.
No different at all. I mean, he's playing on fear with his homophobic attacks against trans people, with his grotesque anti-immigrant rhetoric, which we haven't heard for a long, long time. I know you just gave us the history lesson on it, but, he's throwing everything on this one issue. And it scares me that people are so susceptible to that kind of demagoguery. Doesn't it scare you?
And part of it goes to one of the underlying issues in this campaign, and that's public school education about U.S. history and civics.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, the kinds of courses that we had in elementary school and in high school, U.S. history, U.S. civics, as badly as they were flawed in telling the story about what happened at Wounded Knee or at the Greasy Grasses, they at least embedded in young people some sense of the notions of free speech, of the importance of voting without fear of retribution or being hung, and that's no longer been taught. And we've got generations now who simply don't understand the principles on which this country was founded, including Donald Trump, obviously.
And Trump talks about the need for patriotic education. That's his term.
That's right.
I mean, that's straight out of Nazi Germany.
It is propaganda. Why not just say the word, right?
And obviously, if you're going to tell the truth about your nation, you have to tell the bad along with the good, and learn from those lessons. Learn from the lessons of the murders and the rampages, the Red Summer after World War I, or what happened in Tulsa in terms of Black Wall Street, or what happened in California, or the horrors of the Trail of Tears and the displacement of indigenous people forcing them onto the worthless land in Oklahoma, and then discovering that they were sitting on oil, and once again driving them out of their lands.
That's right. I mean, Trump doesn't want any of that. He's gone after Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States, is saying that shouldn't be taught in our high schools or colleges.
Exactly.
We're seeing a perfect example of that in Florida with DeSantis changing schools, curriculum, doing what they're doing down there.
The DeSantis and our governor in Texas.
Yes.
And those are the obvious ones, but Huckabee's doing the same thing in her state.
She is.
Yeah. We're seeing it up in South Dakota. And that, I think, is one of the great tragedies in terms of our nation is the lack of some semblance of civic education about the guiding principles that the debates in the Federalist Papers, and it's modern. It's a problem today as much as it was in the 1930s when we had Father Coughlin and all those not funny people, but well, anyway. And that's the appeal to half of this nation. And it's this myth that Trump is going to go after the so-called elites, which he's not, and he's going to help you and protect you from other working class, middle class people, just like yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he promised he would protect women.
Protect all women.
Yeah.
But what it gets to, and you ask the question, here we are, a divided nation, and this year, it's something we've got to work at every single day of the year. We've got to go beyond the what I would call the popular progressive issues. We've got to go beyond the question of a woman's right to control her body. We've got to go beyond questions on social and economic justice and get deeper down into the fundamental values that drive our determination in these areas, so that people understand a lot of the hypocrisy. That's the challenge, and it's obviously not easy, because Trump's been elected once, and we're in danger of his being elected again.
Well, the sad part of this is that we're still debating things from the past, things that we've already solved, problems we've taken care of, movements that were so important to this nation. Now they want to take all of that stuff back and revert to something, some dream world that they have fantasized about. And not only that, but I think Republicans in general have decided that they have seen how Trump has manipulated the system, has taken control of it with no blowback, really legal blowback at all. And now they have taken that mantle and they've decided, well, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to take total control of everything. Big government is now their mantra.
Well, look at all the heroes that gave their lives for the right to vote.
Yes.
What happened in the 50s and 60s in particular. And I never would have dreamed that as we made progress in protecting the right to vote, outlawing the poll taxes, making sure that people could go to the polls without risk of being hung on the way home, that we'd never dial that back.
Yeah.
Now, in one state, it's a crime if you give a cup of water to somebody who's hot standing in a voting line. And then, of course, we've got all the repressive stuff that was done here in Wisconsin, where there's continually these false claims about voter fraud. There is no, 2 out of millions and millions of voters, perhaps, have made a mistake in terms of casting a ballot when they shouldn't have. But it's so negligible to be mathematically totally irrelevant. And yet we've got all these new all these new laws that are designed to thwart the turnout, to make it difficult. Everything ranging from the requirement to get an ID to putting the state offices where you get an ID in remote locations that make it difficult for low-income people and people without a car to get there.
Yeah, and this has just been a terrible thing that Scott Walker initiated here in Wisconsin, and it's contaminated the rest of the country, and we knew it would if we didn't defeat Walker during the recall, but there you go. Paul Soglin, thanks for being our guest here.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, guys, take care.
All right. We'll be back with more of the John and Gordy Family Show in just a few moments right here on WMDX.
We're fighting against racism and the housing discrimination. .7 FM, WMDX, the John and Gordy Early Morning Family Show.
Hey, John, did you know that the John and Gordy Show is brought to you by Verlo Mattress of Madison?
Oh, yeah.
And that you can sleep better and dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. Available on Madison's east and west sides or online at verlo.com. Did you know that?
I've heard that, yes. I think we've all heard that.
It's a pretty cool thing to know.
It really is. All right, we're here on the Early Morning Family Show. Gordy's out, but Matt Rothschild's here to fill in. And I have a few things I want to talk about the Tammy Baldwin, Eric Hovde debate, because this is old stuff coming back again. Eric Hovde has not moved out of the 80s. I think he missed the 90s and of course, the 21st century altogether. He made an argument for health care. And this is cut 136. You put up 136 here. He's talking about his view of health care. Let's check it out.
I think you've got the wrong number, John.
All right.
It's not one of the ones right by it. I will take a look for it. In the meantime, do you want to take Joe's call? Because she also wanted to talk about
it. Oh, definitely. Let's talk to Joe first. Okay. Joe, thanks for calling.
Hey, you guys, great show. Really interesting stuff from Paul Soglin, and I encourage people to listen to, if they didn't catch the whole of it, to listen to the podcast, because he had some really great comments. My comment is about a comment by the historian Heather Cox Richardson, who writes a lot about American politics, a very smart woman. And she brought up the fact that Eric Hovde, during the debate, he was talking about the Farm Bill, which is a very important piece of legislation. And Mr. Hovde, who wants to represent our state, a lot of farmers in our state, said, I cannot comment on the Farm Bill because I'm not part of the U.S. Senate yet. Hello.
Yes.
Do you bother to do your homework?
Wow.
I mean, to go on it, ag is like a $16 billion enterprise in our state. Extremely important, not only economically, but I would also argue culturally as to who we are and what we claim to be as Wisconsinites and what we love and we celebrate. We love our rural life and we celebrate it. And so this Farm Bill, he doesn't apparently think it's worth doing the research to figure this out. You're representing the state. Wouldn't you, when you're applying for a job, you research the company, you see what they do, you kind of see how you would fit in it, what are they known for, and how could I comment on this to be able to say I'm something that you would want to have. This guy, Hovde, you remember several months ago, he had described farmers as, quote, farmers don't work as hard as they used to. Number one, how does he know? He doesn't know what they work like, 20, 30, 40, 100 years ago. And he sure doesn't know what they do now because he hasn't even bothered to do his research. It just amazes me that you're applying for a job and you can't manage to do the research. I would point out that I was able to, in 5 minutes of Googling, find a site called sustainableagriculture.net that has it has a wonderful video and it has a title that says, "What is the Farm Bill?" And it gives you all the basics of the Farm Bill. It's about conservation, where they're paid money to put land aside, commodities, nutrition, the SNAP program that deals with 41 million people. It's about rural development. It's about energy to farmers, encouraging them to get energy systems that will support their farm. Crop insurance. Gee, that's kind of important. And it's just to be advertising yourself as a person who's ready to jump into this job, and you say, well, I'm not going to do the research on it until I get the job. You lazy sod, get somebody to get the information to you, I mean, if this is the level of interest you're going to show in the state when you're trying to apply for this job, why should we hire you? What else have you not researched and do you not know about? I mean, I expect a person to at least have the basics of the state that they can talk about, and farms are one of the central basics of this state. You guys have farm news, in your block around your show.
Yes.
Obviously, it matters. Come on, do your homework, guy. To have somebody, this rich banker, come in to say, I want to represent the state, but I'm not going to do any work to help represent you. Gee, I'll do that maybe when you elect me to the Senate. No, do your homework.
Well,
do your homework.
He spends a lot of time appearing with Trump at a lot of rallies, which is an amazing thing, and yet he knows nothing about farmers in the dairy state.
Yeah, crazy. And thanks, Joe, for that great call and great comment. I mean, I thought it was a terrible confession. It jumped right out at me while I was watching that debate that this guy is not going to take a position on the Farm Bill because he says I'm not in the Senate yet. Well, you're running to be in the Senate, and this is a big issue for Wisconsin. You ought to be able to figure out what's in the Farm Bill so you can talk intelligently about it.
Absolutely. And the ideas that he does have are just so outdated. I want to play that. We do have that cut now with Hovde. Let's play that quick here. And
I'm a believer in results. And if you look at the results, every one of those promises has failed. Costs of health care have only skyrocketed higher.
It always does.
Access to care has declined and declined significantly, particularly for a lot of people in our rural communities.
Where?
And lastly, the family doctor has all but disappeared. The only thing that is meaningful was the pre-existing conditions. Look, I have multiple sclerosis, so I understand the importance of that. But we need a significant restructuring of our health care system.
Thank you, Mr. Hovde.
Oh, boy. Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah,
a little disconnected.
Yeah, and if you get rid of the Affordable Care Act, those of us with pre-existing conditions, and I have them too, we're going to be out of luck.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be in the high-risk pools, which was a big, major failure for the old healthcare system that we left behind before the ACA.
Yeah, I mean, if you could get any health insurance, it would cost through the roof.
This is his idea. I will fight for increased price transparency throughout the healthcare system, empowering patients and employees to price shop and make informed decisions. Again, now this is free market healthcare.
Yeah.
That doesn't work either.
Yeah, and that's why we needed the Affordable Care Act, and that's why we need Medicare for all too, because a health industry does not serve us in the marketplace.
Right. We should have universal health care without a doubt. That would make everybody's life a lot easier. Sorry about the sunlight in your eyes there. Matt Rothschild, our guest this morning, filling in for Gordy. John Peterson, this is the Early Morning Family Show. We'll be back again tomorrow, as usual. Take care.
Gordy in the morning, as we were saying. Let the sun shine. Is the John and Gordy